So last week we did clusters of food, right? This week I want to do more casual illustration style using pen, or in Zai's case, she can use a pencil to make very sharp lines, but in a deliberately casual fashion. So we're not really going to try to make objects look exactly the way you see them in reference images. We are going to deliberately make them look a little wonky. If there is symmetry involved, you're not going to be bothered too much about symmetry. But what we will focus on is a very strong line. So say, for example, you're trying to make a cup, and as often happens, you will make an oval. Part of the oval looks perfect, and the other part, something happens. Either you get a wider lip or something like that, very weird. And then when you're making the sides, one side is very graceful, the other side becomes too long or too short or too flat. We're going to retain those supposed imperfections and use that as a quirk in the illustration. So the advantage in that is, firstly, you are able to make these illustrations much faster. You're not sitting there erasing one line after the other. The second is, it also allows you to bring in your personality into the illustration. Everyone's line is different. Everyone's inaccuracies are different also. And in that, you can find a lot of unique joy. The third thing is, even though our illustrations are not absolutely perfect, the objects are not looking absolutely perfect, they still convey a message. They will represent something. And it's very important to see that in order to represent an object, you don't have to be accurate. So that way, I want to move you away from all this proportion and scale, which we do a lot of any case. I want you to be able to see something that is slightly focusing on things other than accuracy. The fourth thing is that pencil or pen illustration and color put together, again, coloring with a very casual style put together, can make a very impactful illustration that can grab attention. It does not, again, have to be like the only, very often I keep saying this, that we equate a good illustration to be one that looks exactly like a photograph. That's something that is just ingrained in us. But in doing that, we are possibly ignoring maybe 19 different styles of grabbing attention. So I want to be able to do that also. If you become comfortable with this style, this is wonderful for travel illustration. When you have to quickly grab your pen and make an illustration of a bowl of food or something like that, when everyone's hungry, nobody's going to wait till you finish a realistic looking illustration and all that. And you don't have to resort to clicking a picture and then spending 3 hours in your room making this illustration while everyone else is gallivanting and having fun on a trip. Just do this fatapat and you should be in a good place to carry it home as a memory. So the pictures that I've shared today are a smattering of images that are mostly about coffee and coffee drinking. Some of them are a little exotic. Like, let me just share these images with you. So they are ensemble images. There's something that would be put together. You have a nice coffee cup with biscotti, a few almond shells, a pot of milk on a chopping board. So this is a nice ensemble. Now again, all of this is geared towards making that cookbook illustration. When you make an illustration for a cookbook, you want to make each page look sensational. So you will want to, instead of making just a coffee cup, or just biscotti, or if you're writing a recipe of biscotti, you don't want to just put a biscotti because it's a very boring thing. It's not, it doesn't have special colors or anything. It's just a very bland brown color, which if you've done it right, won't even have shades of brown. It should just be one even bland brown color. So it's not burnt, it's not hard. So to bring the beauty of the biscotti out, you can add a coffee cup. So you create an ensemble. Now, something like this again, if your recipe is about croissants or cake, bland colors, nothing to really draw about, you put them in a lovely table setting like that. But when you see this table setting, I'm sure the first thing you think of is, oh my God, how am I going to sketch this? This is going to take me a week to draw and paint. That we're going to change. Again, white foods like pastas, soups, sometimes very boring to illustrate. Find a nice table setting to put it together. Now, often we'll also have a topic like maybe just something that has to be ground and put together, especially if it's something like a masala or even coffee for that matter. You don't have to put only the ingredients. You can take a jar or a grinder, but then you don't take one of your Sumit mixie grinders only. There's other grinders also you can find, which could be cuter, and put those along with a picture of a jar, or in this case, it's going to be coffee. So when you're looking at reference images, you don't always find all references that you like. So you may not find this coffee grinder with this cup or this cup. So you have to find multiple images and create a composite. So we could use this coffee cup and croissant and maybe this grinder or this grinder, whatever. Then you have these others, which are again colors of different type, a darker biscotti, a black coffee. And here is a very more exotic coffee. I think this is Middle Eastern. It's where they cook this coffee in sand or something. I saw some fascinating videos. The moment I saw it, I felt like, yeah, even I want it. It's like one of those beautiful artifacts you feel I should also have it, come into your house and you'll never make that coffee ever in your life. But you just feel like possessing it. But again, over here, because of the silverware, it can seem so intimidating because you're just consumed by all the detailing, all the filigree, and you wonder how you'll be able to illustrate this as quick strokes. You'll think I'm mad, but I'll show you how to do this. So what I'll do is let me show you one illustration, at least up to the wash stage, if not fully illustrating it, because I want you to see the process. And you can time me. I want to do it within 10 minutes so that I can give you enough time to do as many of these illustrations in batches of 15 to 20 minutes as possible. We're not making the illustration fast. I want to keep impressing upon you. The illustration does not have to move fast. Your hand is not moving fast. It is moving at the same speed or sometimes even slower, but you're making fewer lines and you're not going to keep correcting yourself. And you are going to you're going to be okay. If a line is made, it's made. Don't try to correct it or make another deviant line so that your attention is diverted. Don't do that. Now, you know that I will be able to draw many of these things quite accurately. So I am going to go backwards a little bit and I'm deliberately going to change the shapes. This is not because I'm making the lines wrong. I'm deliberately not making them right. But you'll get what I mean with that. Now, first thing is, don't make your illustrations too large. Just make them the size that could fit in an A5 size. So don't make like a huge pot or anything. I'm going to draw in pen directly. Now, Zai, in your case, if you don't have a micron pen, you can also make it in pencil and you can make your lines dark in pencil and don't bother erasing. Assume that this is a pen and you can't erase anything. So say I want to make, I I'm going to make one coffee pot. I'm going to make this coffee pot, and I'm going to make this cup of coffee with biscotti next to each other. And then I want to draw it and paint it in 10 minutes. Can someone start the timer? Or just at 9:54, just tell me that the time is up. So when I see these two objects, I have to visualize how I want to create the composition. I want the cup in front and the coffee grinder in the back, and this is going to be the composition. It's not rocket science. I can do this in 2 minutes. And now I'm going to start with the object that's in front. Not even if the main item that I'm speaking about is in the back, start with what you have in the foreground first. So I have my coffee cup. Oh, this is, sorry, it's in pencil now. Let it be. And my coffee cup is going to be like this. I'm not even taking care of transparencies here. And here now I'll have that biscotti. Some pieces of almond. Now here I've deliberately made a double line, but they've all gone through because I want to show dimension, but you don't really need to even dodge things. Some places I have dodged, like I've not shown the spoon here, but I'm going to show my coffee with bubbles and everything right here. And the spoon has gone through. Now comes the coffee grinder. So this was 1 minute. And then we have this coffee grinder here. So I can start this with the drawer. The drawer is, I think, meant to collect the coffee that gets ground on top. Such a clever design. And the top has a very interesting pattern. So does the bottom, which is something like that. Now, it's not as pronounced, but I'm deliberately making it like this so that it looks very dramatic. And then I will have that grinding device. Full of coffee beans. And now here is where I'm going to take some liberties and change the orientation of the handle. If I take the handle onto this side, my design is going to look a little too spread out. So I'm just going to take the handle to this side. Anyway, we are not drawing everything very accurate. So I'll just make it like this, and that should do the trick. So I get a nice composition like so. I'll throw in a few beans at the bottom. Okay, so far so good. How many minutes am I in? 2 minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes. Okay, chalo. Now fatafat. Now with the coffee cup, the shadow is on the left. So I'm going to make some shadows over here in pencil also. And in this case, the shadow is on the right, but I'm going to convert that and make the shadow over here. A lot of things can be conveyed with just the shadows. I'm also going to make a shadow like this. And now each item one by one, I'll paint. The cup is a beautiful aqua color. So I'm making it with cerulean blue. And let me just bring in the paints also. So cerulean blue and a little bit of emerald green here. This will make the coffee stand out even more. Now, even though this is the color of the cup that I'm trying to draw, you can change this. The whole point is being able to see what you need. And to just prove this, I'm going to make my coffee grinder in unusual colors. So I'm going to use a purple just because it happens to be there. And focus on creating highlights. In this case now, the reference image will have a highlight on the left, but I'm changing that to the right. And then make a base of these browns as is given. Now this side will be the lightest. And some colors, if they go into each other, that will look good. Now the coffee beans are actually what the story is about. So focus on them as well. And in this case, we have the coffee. Then we have the biscotti. Okay, 4 minutes to go. Now I'm changing my brush to put in a few grays here and there. Few blacks. A little bit of shadow since the light is coming from this side. Our cup will have an inner shadow from on the right hand side. The biscotti will be dark brown around these shapes of almonds. So a little bit of negative painting. So where we would have otherwise gotten lost in trying to draw all those cracks in the biscotti or making that look more exciting, here you get so many things done. And just tends to look so much more curious. Just draws the eye. And we can do a nice blue color shadow for the beans. Now add to this, if you feel like it, you can also create some nice designs on the silverware by just painting in some patterns. You don't have to make them too elaborate. But it gives the sense of luxury just with that much. And wait, a few more things here. 1 more minute to go. Add to this the lettering. Then it all starts making sense. Okay, are we done? 10 minutes done?
Oh yes, Aditi. Beautiful.
Good. Okay, shall we do this?
Wow.
So mesmerized to see this.
Yeah.
Too good.
Okay,
Oh my God.
try it.
Rita's got a new haircut. It's looking nice.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It feels so good getting short hair.
Very good. Okay, so to begin with, let me don't do a composite image as the first image. Take one of the earlier images, and I want all of you to do whatever you find interesting. So you can do the the cappuccino image, which is I think 4th. It's a cup of cappuccino in the foreground and an almond croissant in the back. You can try that because that's a nice enough composition in itself. Or you can do the first image. That's the, again, light colored almond biscotti with milk. Try to make that composite and make the whole thing the way you see it. Just don't try to bring in the coffee grinder or anything at this stage, and try just because over here you have all the size references, angles are all the same. You don't have to worry about that too much. And do you want to try this in 15 minutes? Shall we try it? Keep a time limit, because if you don't have a time limit, you will just extend and keep going on and on. Okay, so it's 9:57 right now. So now 12 minutes past 10, I will stop you, but I'll keep giving you 5-minute warning, and then last minute warning, and then I'll count down from 15 seconds. Okay, I'm going to keep the my image available in case you want to see how I have treated something or the other. And I'll just try finishing up some of these areas like dark shadows in the beans and whatnot.
Aditi, sorry, I lost track of what you were saying. Which image do you want us to try, please?
Oh, let me just show you. I'll just share the images.
Yeah.
So what I've done is made a composite image of 2 different images.
Right.
But I would like you to do is select from some of the ready composite images, like this one.
Oh, okay.
Or this one. This one is a little too elaborate, so forget this. Just over here, if you just want to take this one bowl and plate and trivet, or this one, but the whole image, not just the cup, even the croissant, the knife, the plate, all of that. Or there is some towards the end, this one, where you don't have to take two images. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're at 5 minutes. Have you finished drawing?
I'm done
Yes,
inking
Aditi.
the sketch.
Okay. If you haven't done, then don't give yourself too much time. You're probably just second guessing yourself. Just move on. Okay, second 5 minutes are up. Another 5 minutes to go. How are you doing?
I have painted mine. I'm just adding the details.
Arriva, very good. At this stage, if you have painted a few parts and you want to add more dimension, just wait for a minute in between colors. You might think you don't have the time, but you do. 1 minute's wait is sufficient for you to have the base colors settle in and then put in deeper shadows like I'm putting right now. So the contrast that you create with that will actually do more than if you keep painting over and over trying to get more drama into your pictures. Two minutes to go. Are you all mostly there?
Yes.
Aditi, mine is not looking half as good as yours.
Okay, let's not let's not compare. Then without comparing, is it looking like what it's supposed to look like?
I don't know. I just see blobs of color.
All right, let the blobs dry. Let them dry. This is like the retreat when we go for the art retreat in Goa. There's the guy Savio. I don't know, Ritika is nodding if she's nodding for the same thing. When there's a spot where we can go canoeing, and often people are scared ki, how deep is the water? Will I drown?
Scared of drowning.
I'm scared of drowning. So Savio often says, I challenge you to drown in this river. And that often makes everyone feel very comfortable. Ritu, you've not done pencil on this?
I've done pencil, Aditi, but it's, I think probably I'll reinforce it with pen.
So let me just give you feedback. I'm going to look at the image and I'm going to look at yours. You've got the colors, but there's no line definition. So everything is looking a little foggy.
Hmm.
You don't need to make the lines in pen. After this painting dries, try to reinforce, excuse me, with pencil. But again, I fear, Ritu, that when you make this in pencil, your lines will be a little shaky. Let me try to show you what I mean. So you've drawn a blob for your supposed to be a cup. If you draw lines like that, which are the ugliest lines, I keep saying, you know what I mean? This will not reinforce anything. This looks very ugly. Now the same shape, overall you might think that your cup will look accurate, but the lines will look very ugly. But if you can take the same thing, and even if your blob is in a different place, make a line like this. So let me just demonstrate this to you.
So you're saying more definitive lines, right?
Yes. So let me paint one thing. Let it dry while everyone else is finishing. By the way, your time is up 2 minutes ago, everyone else.
I'm almost done with mine, so I have no problem.
Cool. No problem. Okay.
Shall I show you mine, Aditi?
One second. Let me just
Yeah.
put this blob down so I can explain to Ritu. Okay, somewhat like that. It's all very long. Let this dry. In the meantime, let me just see everyone else's, and then I'll come back and make a similar illustration. Let me see Tarini's first. 1 second.
Okay. Can you see it, Aditi?
Kind of, yes. Okay, could you undo your background blur?
Oh, okay. Hmm. Okay, I get what you mean.
Okay. Now it's better. Yes, that's very nice. Again, the same problem where the outline is not very strong, but you've got such lovely shapes. Very nice.
All right, it's a start.
Yeah, I think it's very good.
Thanks.
Okay. I'll tell you also. Yours will also become better when you do this exercise. So I'll explain.
Okay.
Let me see Ritika's. Arey, wow, Ritika looking very good. Awesome.
Wow.
Very
Beautiful, actually.
Chalo, you can now
Wow.
graduate. Perfect.
That's
You know,
correct.
I started with pencil, but I could not go with pencil. You know, my hand was shaking, so I said, no, I have to go with pen.
Wow.
Very nice. I'm so happy. Very. Okay, next is Rida. Very good.
It's
Very nice.
results also
Strong
very nice.
lines. Beautiful. How cute is that? Very nice. Let's
Rida, you
Oh,
also
really nice.
used a pen, na?
Sorry.
You've used a pen, right?
Yeah, I directly went in with pen. I couldn't do the pencil. Like
Oh.
Ritika's problem, I just kept on. I couldn't do it.
very nice. Alka's is also very good.
Nice colors, Alka.
Very nice. What depth. Very cool. And almost Salvador Dali like spoon also. Very good. Okay, next Dai. Let's see. Great. You're on the right track. Very good. Chalo, very nice. This was good. Now let's see Susan's. How cute.
Oh,
Very nice.
Yeah, although I could add more depth. I'm very, very reserved with
Yeah.
dark.
The
Very reserved.
colors could be a lot brighter.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
Susan, show yours again.
nice.
Very, very careful.
But
But-
your layering
Very
is
nice.
superb, Susan. The layering is so good.
Yeah, it's very
No,
nice.
no?
I don't think you need more color also.
Yeah.
This
No,
is
but if that
very nice.
darker shade will really make the depth come out better.
So, no, but see, Susan, this is also a perception about oneself. You could, one second, where am I? I have to show my face. So there are ways in which you can illustrate where the colors are not necessarily too chatak. Everything is not too bright, and that also looks very nice. I'm trying to. So have you seen the illustration of an artist named Emily Sutton? EMILEE, I think, SUTTON. So she makes illustrations which are very casual with a lot of almost a pastel-like coloring. So they're
Okay.
very busy illustrations, but they are not all very bright in color. So in the time that you feel you need to correct your images by adding more color, and you feel you're being a little reluctant to use bright shades, you're missing out on the fact that already your illustrations are very good. Despite that whole color thing, your perception, because you want to do something else. But with this light colored, something that you're very comfortable with, just imagine if you can just increase the range of illustrations that you can make, you can already be in business literally. You can start illustrating a lot of things without having to wait for that additional change or just a mindset there where things might be slightly different. You might not even need it. This is going to look perfectly fine. Okay, so let me come back to Ritu's problem over here. Not a problem, but Ritu's solution. I'd like to- Okay, so once you've drawn or you made this illustration and you have to ink it, you still have to keep the original illustration in front of you and keep referring to that. That is one. When you make the lines, you will not make them like this, like I showed earlier. So making a line like that is completely worthless. Don't even bother. Make a nice strong line and don't worry about whether now you will get this oval accurately or not. So I'm going to start making this line, and I'm not deliberately trying to make it inaccurately this time. I'm trying less than my best. If I try my best, I will get that, but then that's not the point. So the line gives you some place to focus your attention on, but the color gives you the identity of that object. Now, if you look at either photographs or Yeah, one second. Let me just finish this. If you look at things like hazy pictures or pictures that are taken in motion, you will notice that the colors of objects bleed out of what you might consider as the outline of the object, creating almost a ghost-like feel. So that happens even in photography, and there you have a lot of technique. You need to involve a lot of technique to do that. In our case, when you do something like that, it creates almost a sense of motion because how the colors blur into each other. In reality, there are no outlines, no? These are only created in illustrations so that you can give some definition and I guess a separation between objects. But in reality, there are no dark outlines or anything. So how do we know that one object finishes and another object starts? It's the shadow in between, which is often not a line. It is a shape, somewhat like this. So we are going one step further. When we draw anything in pencil, we are already approaching it from a very inorganic fashion, where we are separating images. You get what I mean? So in an illustration like that, where sometimes colors go into each other or merge, it does not really look as bad as we think it might look as bad. Am I making sense? I feel like I'm talking
Yes, Aditi.
philosophical way of the philosophy of art, like that. Who's that Baba who talks about the physics of the chemistry of the biology? Have you seen Nityanand?
Yeah.
I used to
Nityanand Baba.
He is amazing.
Nityanand, who has
Sometimes
his
it
own
is-
country.
when I'm trying to explain art, that I must sound like another Nityanand only. Okay, so very strong lines in pen or pencil and strong brush strokes also. Don't pussyfoot around with the brushwork either. Okay, now if you're all comfortable with this, do you want to try the same thing using color pencils instead of regular pencil or pen, if you have them? Again, Zai, if you don't have them, just use your regular
No,
pen.
I got them back. My friend gave them back.
Arey
Put
wow,
this back.
I got my pencil box back.
fabulous.
I have actually, I'll just get them.
So with the pencils, we will try
I'm
the,
also getting my set.
okay, we'll try the blue pottery designs.
All right, got it.
Okay, today I'm going to finally take out my polychromos. I bought this set, I think, a year ago, and I've used 3 pencils, I think, out of the, God knows, 1,000 things that are there in that. Okay, so let's try making the third picture, which is, I think, a spaghetti and meatballs or something. Very awful looking meatballs. We can change the color of foods, huh, if you don't like them. They're looking like a paneer makhan wala on noodles. You know?
Italian version.
Italian version, so true.
I don't think it's mixed properly. That's why it looks weird.
Or yeah, or the light or it's got too much cheese or something is wrong in that. That color is just absolutely not appetizing. but we can change that. Okay, so here's our image. We will be making the two plates, the bowl, the plate, and the trivet that it is on. And we will make all of this first in color pencil and make the shapes in color pencil. Then you will do a little bit of painting with the gray shade so that we can build in some depth. We can use color pencils or regular pencils to make the noodles and meatballs and whatever, the food inside it, and then eventually add a little bit of color with watercolor wherever needed. Now, if you feel you want to use a regular pencil to make the bowl and the plate, you can do that also. Now, if you see, the bowl, the plate, and the trivet are closer to each other on top than the bottom. That shows the angle at which you're seeing this object. So I'm going to draw this in the center of the page, but I'm going to make it only about this big. I want to give lots of room around. So I'm making one oval-like shape because I can see the entire edge. Another oval-like shape for the plate. And let me get an appropriate color. Yeah, for the trivet, slightly higher. So now I'm going to first make some kind of texture for the trivet. This is how the weaving has been done now across parallel lines. And then I'll make a texture like this. Somewhat. Or you can draw a line in the middle. So it's almost as if you're drawing two V shapes next to each other. Now, I'm not going to draw a V, and actually, why not? I can even draw this. Any of these is fine. So you can draw V's across if that's easier. And then draw just separate lines in between. Don't draw one line through. So sometimes in an illustration like that, because we are trying to save time, do look at the easy solution. That is one way you can decide whether what you're doing would be right or not. All of these lines need to be firm, strong, and definitely not accurate.
Mine is very weird. I think they've made it too big, the threads.
Too big? Mine is also pretty big.
Yes. No, the width of like thread.
Okay. I don't think it should matter. Let's see if you continue how it looks.
Mm.
See, it'll correct itself after some time.
Yeah.
It'll start making sense. In the beginning, all these things can look a little odd. For the food, I am merely making pencil shapes. I don't want to use too much of color pencil for this. A little bit of texture with pencil should be fine. And then for the noodles or the spaghetti, just make a few lines that are knotting into each other. At this point, everything is dry. So you can take a color with which you want to make some shadows. We can use our generic gray, or if you want, you can also use something like a purple or a deep blue to make that shadow. I'm using a mix of black and cobalt blue this time. Usually I would use just black, ultramarine blue, and brown, the generic gray shade. But this time I'm making it blue just so that it goes well with the blue. One of our shadows is over here. Our light source is from this side. So we have a shadow on the inside that's somewhere like this. Then we have a shadow on the outside. Then we also have the shadow of the food. Now, what happens when you get these hard lines? Wash and dampen your brush and then spread the color just like this. Just that. Go back into it and spread, or take that damp brush around the edge where you want to spread. Just one stroke should be enough. Don't overdo it. Then we have over here, we can literally just manipulate the brush. And see how I've left a little white edge along the top of the bowl to subtly suggest an edge. And over here again, a little lighter shadow where the plate will be turned up slightly. So see how when sometimes you press the brush, you get these unexpected shapes. Those work very well for indicating some kind of either shadow or pattern or texture. Now, if you have the confidence, you can also make a small edge like that along the front. Using a lighter version of that same color with a little bit of, wait, let me put these colors down. So this one is this blue along with a little bit of burnt umber. The earlier color was black and black and cobalt blue. Okay, everyone with me? Now let's paint the spaghetti first with just a swish of gamboge and yellow ochre. So I'm going to put that color at the base of these meatballs. And then, first let me also put that color up here. Then dampen the brush and just spread that color unevenly. And because it is a light color, we can also get away with painting some of that into the meatballs. And cover all the space behind or in the space between the meatballs. For the meatballs themselves, I think a mix of scarlet and burnt sienna would be fine. Again, when applying this shade, apply the shade in some parts, not the whole thing. And then change the color. If you've got too much scarlet, then put in a little bit of burnt sienna. If it's too burnt sienna-ish, put a little bit of scarlet. So you can midway, you will have to replenish the color, no? So choose the color that you see less of. That way, the painting is very vibrant. Now, while the meatballs are drying, this almost sounds like a recipe itself. While the meatballs are drying, paint the plate. Now, here's the important part. Forget the food. Food illustration, you all will manage. The decoration of the plate. What you see is a very detailed picture, a very detailed design, of which a few things you can pick up. Like in this place, you have some kind of twirly design. And then you have some leaf design. So if instead of going and making it very complicated and trying to see every little detail, get a general idea of what it is and simplify it. So I see some petals or sides of the leaf like that, which is very complicated. From that, I'm taking stuff that I think I can make or as much as I can see, and I'm just replicating that part. Here also there's a squiggle, and then that same squiggle repeats over here, the same direction, and I can see the direction over there, so I don't even have to remember it. And then there's a wave like that from here. And then some kind of wave thing from here. Can you see this? So I'm not making it accurate, but I am using the design reference to make something similar. You just have to be very careful to not fall back on some of our Indian-like designs where you make, those minaret-like shapes, only because then this will start looking very Islamic.
I was trying to see any designs if I can try to replicate on that plate, and I can't see anything.
You can't see any? What do you
I
mean?
can see a little bit because of the angle I can't see much.
That's okay. We can all see the same thing that you are seeing. Don't worry. And draw only what you see.
Yeah.
Now, things like this will come in time. When you have a rim, the line, instead of continuing straight, will bend downward. That you may not immediately get. And that might look different in my picture, but that is only because I am using perspectives or the knowledge of drawing 3D in a certain way. So it will make a difference. My plate might look like it has a legitimate lip, but still it's a very minor issue. In case you see it, make it. If you don't see it, for the purpose of this illustration, it is not going to make a difference. Many of the designs are repeating. Now, something similar is happening on the bowl also. But the thing is that we are seeing everything now very differently. So my hack over here is figure out a few shapes that you can make easily and just repeat the same shapes. Already it's starting to look really nice. Now the other stuff we have, which is a dark background and white, like a negative illustration. Instead of the trouble of all that, part of this design, you can actually even just paint. So like we done the blue pottery, but in this case now, how about using, instead of cobalt, I'll use a mix of cobalt and ultramarine. But keep the lines casual. Again, this is supposed to be a quick illustration. So I'm making some kind of design that repeats. To fill up that space. And remember, we've done things like that in our surface pattern class. So in a sense, what we're doing is occupying a lot of space with some very intense color. And that is going to mimic the effect created by the blue painted in negative. So if you think about it, whether it is shapes of leaves silhouetted in white, or you draw the leaves and silhouette the negative space in white, the effect is pretty much similar. In this case only, yeah? So those of you who remember when we had painted the apple, I think it was last year or maybe 2 years ago, there were white spots on the apple. But if you even made those spots in pencil or a darker color, as long as you represented that spotting, it didn't seem to matter. I don't know how it is. Again, as usual, my conjecture is that the brain is filling out information it finds best suited for its needs, and we don't have to do that extra work then. Okay, now there are some shapes over here which are colored. So I'm going to color, say, this part. Though I have drawn it in pencil, and this looks very nice. A dark pencil background outline with the color filled in. And here there is a shape which is then filled with some what looks like um, almost a scallop-like design. So I'm representing that with a gray, a light blue shape. And this will still look different from the shadow. Are you all getting this? Any questions or any problems so far? How are your designs looking? How are the plates looking?
Now I'm going to use watercolors. I'm done with the pencil like sketching.
Okay.
Okay, now while the plate is drying, I'll go back into the uh, the meatballs and make a mix of this color scarlet burnt sienna and a little bit of burnt umber, and just put some kind of shadow along the bottoms of some of the meatballs. And again, they should look a little textured, so not the smooth shape. Sap green for the basil, and just a quick stroke. And now we come to the trivet. That also is colored, but we can create an artificial sense of color by only painting some of the shadows just along the outer edge of some of these shapes. Should start creating the effect of the weave or the 3D part of the weave. For this, use a medium liquid paint. Not too liquid and definitely not too solid. And fill just about enough paint in your brush to stain the paper. It's not about applying too much color as much as just creating a sense of shadow and texture So it's literally just staining the paper, hardly coloring it. But be as accurate as you can with your strokes. So it's surprising how your main strokes can be inaccurate. Like the shape of the trivet can be an oval instead of a circle or the other way around. But these shapes for shadows and highlights should be as accurate as possible. So this can continue. You can keep detailing as much as you want. And at some point, you might feel the need to add more depth. So at that point, make your blue-black a little more intense, cobalt blue, a little more intense. And in the same place where you had drawn shadows earlier, you can run a line that's slightly deeper in color over all the painting that you've done. In the same places, but not the same size. Because this is another layer, we will paint something else or paint something less. And I'm using the same shade now to paint the base just underneath the plate. A little bit on this edge, but not fresh. It's just the residual paint so that it creates a lift. Now I can continue the same color along the further edge also. It'll add to the effect. Or actually, maybe I could just, as it's in the photograph, I could just paint the color over there. This is the earlier original color. So it's just addressed, acknowledged. And again, every time you make something like that, do practice some lettering. Does it have an age, spaghetti? Alka, you would remember?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
Lovely to- Oh yeah, of course. I forgot one more shadow. It's a combination of all the shadows. Is
All right. How is everyone's spaghetti and meatballs looking?
Not like that.
That is we have to not say that. That's not the point.
Oh my God, I still have to work a bit on mine.
Okay. So anyone, any questions? Any doubts? Arey, wah. Ritika, awesome. Looking very good. Very nice depth.
Oh yeah, very nice, Ritika.
Oh,
This
lovely.
is really
I
nice.
think the mistake which I did is
Oh,
I drew the spaghetti, with the black pencil, the color pencil. So it messed up with my
Oh
Yeah.
no. So you've got black spaghetti.
yeah.
Rida, yours are also good.
yeah.
Your trivet design is your own, by the way. Huh? That's a very creative design. ऐसा normal नहीं बना सकेंगे trivet, but that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, Ritu, in your trivet, I think you can add more color now because the edges have become too dark and they are not flowing into each other. So, thoda sa usme just spread a little bit of color. Then it should be fine. But I'm not saying paint each one of those segments. Then we'll be overdoing it. You get what I mean?
You're saying the background needs to be I mean, just make it little fuzzy.
No, the trivet,
Yeah.
the poster. So over there, the edges have become a little too sharp. So they're almost looking like sliced apples.
Yeah, okay. So
Huh.
I'll just make it a little, what is
Less-
it? Little dull.
Correct. Little.
Yeah.
Don't make that. So put a swish of color, which will automatically okay. How about everyone else?
Yeah, I still need to work on mine. I will show it you later.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we'll shoot later.
Yeah. Okay, I need to go. Bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Yes. Bye, Alka. Yes.
Bye.
Your picture. Okay. Okay. All right.
Aditi,
So-
I also need to leave. I'll check out the recording if there's anything balanced.
all right. Okay. Zai, you're on the right track. Take your time making this. So if all of you still need some time, take no more than about 15 minutes to complete it, because otherwise we are going to be slipping into the old habit of overworking. So put a timer by 11:20. Whatever you have to do has to be done, finished. Okay,
So my trivet has become a rug. So
that's okay. Is it looking like that texture that we made? It's just become wider, no?
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's not a big deal for now.
See, I have to leave, so I'll say bye to everyone.
Yes,
Bye
yes.
and thank you. Bye.
Bye. We'll all leave.
Okay, thank
Right.
you.
So after you finish this, when I upload the video, if all of you can just put a comment underneath the video about what you expect or what to expect. This is for people who might want to watch the video, because I keep cross-sharing information from one batch to another. So I'm telling everyone to just go to the video, put some comment about what you learned, how things were different, and rate and give a thumbs up or something like that. I think that helps. Okay, so other viewers can also, other class members then can just read the comments and know what to expect in that. There are some people who are joining anew, some other students who want to just watch the videos and I direct them to this particular thing, but they don't have to watch the whole video to find out what to expect. Okay? It'll really help.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
do we have class next week on Saturday or Sunday?
Why is there something happening on Saturday?
No, I'm asking. Do we have class?
Now, unless there's something happening on Saturday, like a public holiday or something, I'm not going anywhere. This class will happen only on Saturdays.
So sorry, I got confused. So we don't have class, or do we have class?
We have class on all Saturdays,
Okay.
and next Saturday definitely at 9:30 as usual.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, shall we end the session then for today?
Thanks, Aditi. Will you just put up your painting on the group, na?
I will, yes. All
Yeah.
right.
Thank
Okay, bye everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye.